Today I welcome you guys to our weekly session analysis where we'll get to discuss and look at different pairs to know what we are expecting in the coming weeks. So for this week we are going to now be looking at gold, which is my normal pair, and also I'll take a look at US oil. Now the reason why I'm looking at US oil is because of these trade wars that are going on. That's the reason I'll be looking at US oil to see if there is any trading opportunities in US oil. So, but first of all, we'll be starting with the DXY, the dollar index. Dollar index simply helps us to know the strength of dollar, to know if dollar is strong or to know if dollar is weak. And before I start my analysis, I have a very simple way I analyze my charts. I look at the monthly time frame. After the monthly time frame, I go down to the daily time frame. After the daily time frame, I go down to the 1 hour, and from the 1 hour to the 5 minutes. So the monthly time frame gives me the bigger picture to see where price is coming from and where price is headed to. While the daily time frame is where I want to see my reaction. Let's take, for example, in the monthly time frame, they are bullish in the monthly time frame, and in the daily time frame, I want to see a reaction to make sure that monthly time frame bullish movement will continue on the daily time frame. Then the 1 hour is where I'll possibly look for another 1 hour reaction, or take my entry from the 1 hour if I'm looking at the monthly time frame as my directional bias. So if I'm looking at the weekly time frame as my directional bias, I go down to, I think I have a chart here. Okay. All right, sorry. So if I'm looking at the weekly time frame if I'm using the weekly time frame as my directional bias, I will use the 4 hours. You can't see, I think it's from your end because others can hear me. I think it's from your end. Try enabling your audio. So the weekly time frame is for my directional bias. Then the 4 hour time frame is where I want to know if there is a possible reaction, and the 15 minutes for my entry. If I'm using the daily time frame as my directional bias, the next time frame I'll be looking at is the 1 hour time frame. After the 1 hour time frame, I move to the 5 minutes time frame. So for this DXY now, we are starting from the monthly time frame. I'll have to remove all the drawings. We're starting from the weekly time frame. And if you've been following my analysis very, very well, you know that I just look out for two.
Hello, Joy, are you there?
Hello, can you hear me? So I said if you've been following my analysis very, very well, you know I just look out for two things. As price taking out any form of liquidity, is it internal range liquidity or external range liquidity? So for this dollar index, now we can clearly see from the monthly time frame that price has taken out the external range liquidity here. And whenever price takes out uh external range liquidity, the next place price is headed to is the internal range liquidity. And as of this DXY here, I have my internal range liquidity over here on the monthly time frame. So dropping down to the daily time frame, let's see if we are going to have a reaction from the daily time frame. Of course, we do have a reaction from the daily time frame. This is the external range here being taken out. This external range here being taken out. We have this monthly fair value gap here. And now here on the daily time frame, we can clearly see break of structures, right? We have this low, this high, this low, this high, this low, this high. Okay, so I'm I'm not seeing this fair value gap here to hold price. I'm not expecting it to hold price because this is a fair value gap that ran out or that took out external range liquidity. This is a fair value gap that took out external range liquidity. So I'm not expecting this gap here to hold price. What I want to see on dollar index going into this week, as price has taken out this high here. As price has taken out this high here, we have this little internal range here. We have this little internal range liquidity, which is our fair value gap here, this daily fair value gap. So I'm expecting price to drop into this gap to continue the bullish movement and take out this external range liquidity here. And take out this external range liquidity here to continue the bullish movement on the dollar index. And remember, either on Friday or on Thursday, Trump made a speech telling Americans it's time to buy stocks, which means we're expecting some positive moves from America this coming week. US dollar being strong and the tariff war coming to an end. I think they had a meeting. America and China had a meeting on Friday, so we'll be expecting a stronger USD this coming week. We're expecting a stronger USD this coming week. If by any means this gap here intends to hold price, now I want price to close below. I want price to close below this fair value gap, or better still, I want price to break this structure to the downside. I want price to break this structure to the downside. That is if this fair value gap here, holds price. But I don't see that happening this week because of these fundamentals, this news we are seeing, these fundamentals we saw on Friday and Trump's speech as well on Friday. So this is what I'm expecting on dollar index this week, the continuation of the bullish movement into this internal range, this monthly internal range liquidity here. To this monthly internal range liquidity here. So I'm not expecting this fair value gap here to hold price based on what I've seen happen in the chart for a couple of months now. Any fair value gap that ran out higher time frame external range liquidity and into the daily time frame or maybe the 4 hours time frame, I'm not expecting that fair value gap to hold price. But we never can tell. Price is very fractal, so we just have to wait and see, not what we are thinking. We'll work with what we see and not what we are thinking. So we just have to wait and see how this is going to play out this coming week. So I'll be moving over to gold. I'm moving over to gold. Now, gold, last week, I called out 3 trades, and we also how they all played out last week. So I'm expecting more wins this coming week on gold, and if possible, we'll be adding oil to our watch list again. I love these expensive pairs. The reason being that they are going to give us money real quick. Okay, they're going to give us money real quick. So gold and oil is what I'll be looking at this week. From the weekly time frame on gold, I have to remove all drawings and also delete this alert. Also delete this alert. So here on the weekly time frame on XAU USD, we have 2 points of interest here. We have this weekly fair value gap, which price didn't come back for. And we also have this. We also have this weekly fair value gap here. We also have this weekly fair value gap here. So from this weekly time frame now, you can clearly see that last week, this is last week candle. Last week closed above this our weekly fair value gap, showing signs of bullish movement, showing strong bullish momentum, despite what we are seeing on DXY, okay? Showing a strong bullish momentum by closing above here. So if DXY continue the bullish movement, we might see gold drop into this weekly internal range liquidity here. We might see gold drop into this one. My go drop into this weekly internal range liquidity here. So dropping down to the 4-hour time frame, let's see what we are going to get from the 4-hour time frame. So here on the 4-hour time frame, you can clearly see how price reacted to this gap here. Clearly see how price reacted to this 4-hour gap here, right? Breaking structure to the upside. Now we have lower high, we have lower low, lower high. This low failed to break below this, thereby going on to break this previous lower high here to give us a higher high. So which means we are continuing the bullish movement on XAUUSD this coming week from what we are seeing here on the 4-hour time frame. From what we are seeing here on the 4-hour time frame. And if you clearly look at this movement here, we have this gap. You have this 4-hour gap here. Price closing below it, and also we have an inversion here. We have an inversion here. We have an inversion here. So this week on XAUUSD, I'll have to go down to the 15 minutes. I'll have to go down for the 15 minutes. What do I want to see in the 15 minutes? I will need price to break this low. Which has already happened on Friday, and come back to break this high for me to know that yes, we have our confirmation, our buy confirmation on XAU USD. Okay, so now this is an analysis from the weekly time frame. Now let's see if the daily time frame is going to align with what we just saw on the weekly time frame. If the bullish movement, if the daily time frame is still giving us that bullish movement. Okay, so I'll have to remove all drawing. Let's start from the daily. Now here on the daily time frame, right? We have this LQ grab, a turtle soup. We have this turtle soup here, and price breaking structure to the upside, and price breaking structure to the upside. So external range liquidity is being taken out. External range liquidity is being taken out, and price dropping into the internal range liquidity. Daily fair value gap. Dropping into the internal range liquidity. And if you want to use premium and discount array, you can clearly see that this fair value gap falls in the premium array, and our PD array falls in the discount of our PD array. Okay, now let's try another thing. Let's use feed from swing low to swing high. From swing low to swing high. Now we clearly see price closing above the 0.5, which is our equilibrium, after dropping down into our discount zone. So 0.62, 0.70 is our discount zone, and price dropped down into this level before closing above the 0.5 equilibrium, which simply means we are still expecting the bullish movement to continue. Okay, so now these are confluences that I've seen. If I want to take my trade now, I don't need to be scared or anything. Reason being that I've backtested this, it have worked for me countless times. The only thing I need to do is just have my entry confirmation and execute. Now, the weekly time frame is telling us the same thing, bullish movement. The daily time frame is giving us the bullish vibes, which we can clearly see here. We checked the PDRA, the price currently sitting at the discount of our PDRA, and we made use of the Fibonacci, right? Price currently tapped into the 0.62 of our Fib and closing above the 0.50, which is the equilibrium level, and also price dropping down into the internal range liquidity, which is our daily fair value gap. So these are all the confluences I have to strongly believe that gold. Oh no, we are not the owners of the market, but from what we are seeing, in Forex, we make use of past data to predict future movement, right? So we are using the data we have here now to predict what we are expecting on gold. Okay, so let's drop down to the 1 hour time frame and see what we are going to get from the 1 hour time frame. So here in the 1 hour time frame, right? We have this. You have this happen, and you have this structure shift, right? And last week on Friday, on Friday, we're on these buys here. We're on these buys here up to this level. That's approximately 302 pips. We're on these buys last week Friday. Although I was stopped at break even because I wanted to swing the trade, but this movement here came back, took me out at break even. But that's not a problem. We still have plenty of opportunities in the market. All right. So now, what do I want to see here on this 1 hour time frame? Okay, I have this low here on 1 hour time frame. I have this low. I want price to take out this low and possibly give me an inversion, So I'll expect price to come back, take out this low here, right? Give me an inversion. So I will know that, yes, they truly want to take price up. And I truly want to take price up. So this is what I'm expecting on gold this coming week to continue the bullish movement based on what we've seen from the weekly time frame and also what we've seen from the daily time frame. So this week I'm bullish on gold. I'm bullish on gold despite what I'm seeing from the dollar index, but we can't really predict the market until it starts playing out. Then we use the data we are receiving to analyze or predict the future movement of what we're expecting into the week. Okay, so let's quickly take a look at US oil. So I've been backtesting US oil for a while now before I add it to my to my watch list, and the everything I backtested, they all worked out, and that is the reason why I'm adding it to my watch list. Price this inversion here coming back to retest it dropped massively, and from the weekly time frame, you can clearly see this the first catch of this sale drop and price coming back to the weekly time frame again, coming into this weekly time frame and dropping again. You can clearly see the weekly time frame price giving us a confirmation here or a change of reaction here and dropping. So this is the reason why I'm adding US oil to our watch list. US oil is quite expensive. It's more like Nasdaq and US 30. You know, it's quite expensive. So that's why I'm adding it. We need something to give us money. Okay, so let's go down to the analysis now. Remove all drawings. So from the weekly time frame here, let's look at the monthly time frame first before dropping down to the weekly time frame. Okay, this candle is here to close, going to close in the next 19 days. So we have to work with the weekly time frame. So here on the weekly time frame, price reacting of this weekly fair value gap here. Reaction of this weekly fair value gap, and we also have an external range liquidity which price is yet to take out. We have this external range liquidity here which price is yet to take out. Okay, so drop into the 4-hour time frame. So here on 4-hour time frame, now I would have loved oil. Had it been that oil took out this low here, that would have been a very, very, very nice and interesting thing for us. But let's see the daily time frame first. Okay, so here on daily time frame, we have two external range liquidities that prices is definitely coming back for. We have this daily external range liquidity here. So we have this daily fair value gap here. We have this daily fair value gap. So dropping down to the 1-hour time frame, let's see what we are going to get from the 1-hour time frame. So here on 1-hour time frame, yeah, price dropped massively, aggressively from our daily point of interest. So I have this fresh swing high here, this fresh external range liquidity. So this is what is likely going to happen on US oil. Now we have this inversion price playing out from this 1-hour inversion here. Price respecting this 1-hour inversion. So now two things are going to happen here on US oil. This inversion will continue to hold price until we take out this external range liquidity here. Until we take out this external range liquidity here. So dropping down to the 5-minute time frame. Dropping down to the 5-minute time frame, right? We can clearly see a structure break here or a structure shift here. You can clearly see a structure shift here. And also we have this internal range liquidity here. 5 minutes fair value gap. Okay. So this is what is likely to happen on UX oil as market is opening this week. Price coming back into this 5 minutes fair value gap, and we have our stop loss just below this low here. And target 1:2R. And target 1:2R, or better still, we can target this high here. We can target this side. But if we want to be on the safer side, we can bring down our stop loss into this low to be on the safer side. It's still a very good risk to reward ratio. This is 1:2. We are risking 1% of our account to make 2% of our account. Or if you want to refine more to get a very tiny, but I don't really enjoy refining my trades that too much. I can move down to the 1 minute time frame to refine the entry, but it's not really ideal. Okay, the best thing to do now that we've seen this clean setup going into this week on US oil, going into this week on US oil, right? The ideal place to have our stop loss is just below this low. So if price should break this low, If price should break this low, that means this is what we should be expecting. If price should give us something like this and break this low, now we should expect something like this to continue happen. Okay. So, but we can't really say that now until we see price do its thing. But this is what I'm expecting on US oil coming into this week. Bullish on US oil until we take out this external range liquidity here. After taking out this external range liquidity, then probably on Tuesday, on Wednesday, we'll look for more opportunities on US oil. All right. So let's quickly take a look at the fundamentals and see what we should expect fundamentally this week. So on Monday, there is no red folder on Monday. There is no red folder on Monday. We can clearly see no red folder on Monday. And on Tuesday, being 13th of this month, around 7 a.m., claiming count change coming out for the GBP. But luckily for us, we don't trade GBP pairs. We only trade XAU, USD, and the newly added to our watch list, US oil. Around 1:30, we have core CPI. All right, we have core CPI. This is a very, very major driver of the market. So we have to pay very attention on Tuesday. We have to be very, very careful on Tuesday going into the market on Tuesday. And obviously, we might be having an analysis on Tuesday morning. We might be having an analysis on Tuesday morning before the CPI around 1:30 and 4 p.m. That same 1:30, okay, these are all CPI. 4 p.m. we have Bank of England. Governor Bailey will be speaking. Possibly it's going to be about interest rate, but we don't really care about that. On Wednesday, there is no red folder. Then on Thursday, we have pounds GDP, gross domestic product, and around 1:30 we have core PPI, which is being released every Thursday. Oh, sorry, unemployment claim is being released every Thursday. So we have core PPI. This is another strong driver of the market. And around 1:40 p.m., Jerome Powell is going to speak. So Jerome Powell is one of the few people that their speech moves the market. Their speech moves the market. Simple good evening, everyone. Everywhere is already bleeding. Everywhere is already bleeding. Everywhere is already bleeding. So Jerome Powell is one of the people that their speech alone moves the market. We have to pay attention to Jerome Powell's speech on Thursday by 1:40. Then on Friday, we have consumer sentiments and inflation expectations. Especially this inflation expectation, moves market very, very well because Americans want to know how deep inflation has eaten them up to know if they will be able to increase the interest rate or reduce the interest rate. We all know the meaning of inflation. Cost of prices, things keep being expensive, houses expensive, cars expensive, cost of living being expensive. These are what inflation does to the nation. Okay, so if you have any question on what we just talked about today, both the DXY, XAUUSD, and the US oil, or if you need more clarification on fundamentals, please kindly ask your questions. Okay, so